Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. I have two cameras set up, so one of them is looking from overhead and the other one's over here. So if you see me looking this way, I don't have somebody in the kitchen with me. I'm not getting distracted. My name's Tanya. This is She's At It Again, and I want to show you how to make deviled ham. I started to kind of cut this open and do all this stuff, but I want to show you from the very beginning and the reason why I do things. If you've ever bought the deviled ham in a can that has a little wrapper with the little devil on it, it is delicious, but it has some ingredients in it that I'm just not, I'm not real comfortable about eating that. And I grew up on that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I grew up on potted meat. So if I'm scared of that, something's going on. So what I'm starting with is a ham, and I want to show you the label to this because I keep saying uncured ham, and a lot of people might be going, I don't even know how to look for that. Well, I'm going to show you. I'm hoping this picks up on this label right here. I realize not everybody has a Kroger store, but I want you to know that this says natural sliced uncured ham, and this is applewood smoked. So it's smoked, but it's not cured, so you don't have the nitrates and nitrites in it. So what I'm going to do, this package is 20 ounces, and I only want 8 ounces of this. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, get my right measurements on here. I'm going to be using the smaller rounded end of that because my husband's going to come in later on and go, oh, there's a package of ham in there. I didn't even know we had ham because I had it in the garage refrigerator. But I don't want him to come in and have to make a sandwich out of these little tiny end pieces. So that's what I'm going to use to make my deviled ham with. So let's start out with zeroing it out or tearing it out, T-A-R-E. And I'm going to add enough slices to where it makes 8 ounces. That's perfect. That's my 8 ounces. So we'll set that aside. And that's all we needed our scale for. I usually take the battery out of my scale because even though somebody will say, oh, it's not on it, doesn't run your battery down. Yes, it does. I'll argue that. I'll argue that. Okay, so we'll put our food processor back together. If you don't have a food processor, I would say chop it up as finely as you can with a knife and then put it in a blender. So we have our ham in there. That's half a pound of ham. Then we're going to add to that just a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. This is such simple ingredients. It's kind of ridiculous that more people don't know how to make it. I had a different recipe for this and it was kind of okay, but it didn't taste like the canned stuff. This tastes like the canned stuff. It's good. It's just really, really good. So a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. And then my recipe calls for a dash of hot sauce. So there's my bottle of Frank's hot sauce. Somebody came to visit the other day and said, oh, what kind is this? And we said the kind that comes in a gallon jar, and we just don't put the gallon jar on, or gallon jug, and we don't put the gallon jug on the table, so we put it in this, but it's Frank's. And they liked it. Okay, this calls for 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. This is my homemade mayonnaise from a jar. And for a kid that grew up not ever eating mayonnaise, I just didn't like it. It was just gross. It was sweet. It was Miracle Whip. But for a kid that grew up in the country and didn't like mayonnaise, I sure eat a lot of mayonnaise. I mean, I'm constantly making mayonnaise. So if you hadn't seen the how to make mayonnaise video, please check that out. It's one of the first ones we did because I knew if I didn't make that video, be one of the first, I'd be forever going, figure out how to make your own mayonnaise because the store-bought kind is just not as delicious as what you could be having. and not as healthy. That just kind of goes without saying. All right, so 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, and then we're going to add just 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. That might be where a lot of this flavor comes from. And then an ever so tiny amount, and I poured this in a little tiny measuring cup, like a little medicine cup beforehand because I knew I'd overdo it if I poured it over this, but like 1/8 of a teaspoon of just white vinegar. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but apparently it's an essential ingredient. So don't leave it out. All right, I'm going to plug that in. Oh, this smells so good. So good. The smell of deviled ham reminds me of going fishing because that's one of the things we used to take fishing with us. You get out in the boat and pull out that can of deviled ham and pull out those crackers, and that was lunch. And washing your hands, now, you just keep on eating. Don't even think about it. And it didn't kill us for some reason. I don't know how. Okay, this looks nice and smooth. All right, I am going to attempt to get a good shot of this. I want you to see what that looks like. I hope I'm getting this in the camera. If I'm not, I so apologize because like I said, I don't film this on selfie mode, so I don't really know what it's getting a shot of, but I'm hoping you can see that. Super creamy, and it smells like the stuff in the store, guys, but it's just so much better for you. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, I'm going to store that in a jar, and we'll put it in the refrigerator. I'll put everything else back up, but this gets stored in the refrigerator and just go in and make a sandwich out of it, just like you would the canned stuff, except it's not in a can. So, hope you've enjoyed this. I look forward to sharing something else with you next time. And until then, have a good day. Thank you.